I'm Lisa Ann McCall, physical therapist, posture princess, lover of movement. Today we're going to tackle yoga. What we're going to do today is I'm going to take a yoga posture and I am going to show you how to do it a little different with the focus of how the McCall method works. So I take all movements in life and I design them, or I put people in them, so that they bring out the greatest balance, centering of a human movement. So where I am different is I am a bone lady. I focus on bones. I focus on the fact that if my yoga pose, yoga meaning yoke, is really directly connected to whatever my life movements are. So if I do warrior pose and I make it as much like centering my body to stand, bend, walk, if they are more and more overlap and are more alike, then you're going to get the best bang for your buck. Meaning, if I set my structure up right, or I set my structure up and center myself in warrior, the same way or similar to the way I would set myself up into bending and sitting and walking and turning, then I'm going to get the most out of that yoga posture. So just a understanding of the history of the way I look at things, we as humans are built to be very intelligent at movement. Our grandparents, our great-grandparents bent over, carried stuff, worked in the fields, worked and physically did really, really well. This is also very true for people who live off of the land in ethnic societies, agrarian societies, carrying things on their head, children on their back, working in the fields. These people, if they haven't been westernized with their diet and with their lifestyle, they will live on past 100 doing many of these activities until they die. So the natural breakdown of the human body is a slow progression as the whole body progresses the same. It's not like, oh my God, my knees went out. Okay, I got to get new knees at 60 or 50 or whatever. There is a natural progression. So what I do as a physical therapist and have for 30 years is I've taken this centering of the structure and I put it in everything, whether it's a yoga posture, a pickleball posture, wherever. And that is a foundation that we are missing in our society. So, for example, if you went to a tennis pro and asked, you were going to pay a lot of money to improve your tennis game. If your tennis pro said, wonderful, I'm going to take you, we're going to go do some yoga for an hour. And that was how your tennis pro addressed your needs. You may feel better, you may not. It depends on what you needed. What you want from your tennis pro is for you to be better at tennis. Whether it's the serve, the stance, the holding of the racket, you need precision with tennis. Every human movement is the same. So what I teach is the precision, the details in all human movements so that you can do yoga, tennis, pickle, or whatever you want to do better without breaking down, and you have that lovely slow progression in life. You may slow down a little. I'm 65. I've been doing this for 30 years. I slow down some, but I don't move in. I move better because it's an intelligence that I have in my body that I continue to feed that intelligence by moving better all the time. And it just feeds on itself. It's like little treasures that you don't know you have in your joints that are really smart, and you can continue and continue to have this language come alive. And it comes more alive in our world of Western living because we don't use our bodies as much. So it's like, wow, I didn't know I had this. I didn't know I had the ability to do this. So let's do warrior. Now there's warrior 1 and warrior 2. And the difference really in these two is one is arms are up and one are arms are out. It really doesn't matter to me because I want to show you why it doesn't matter. And it's very important that you understand when we do this, I'm setting my structure up the way it's designed to be set up with gravity. And I use the yoga posture for me to enhance my structure. I don't let the yoga posture tell me how I should move from an aesthetic point of view of what the world thinks this yoga posture is supposed to look like. It's not about looking, it's about feeling. It's about being in the body correctly or more in tuned so that I can execute a human movement better. So yoga doesn't run me, I run it. The bike doesn't run me, I run it. You know, the pickleball world doesn't run me, I run it. I go there and I execute from this center, no matter what I'm doing. Okay, so we have to back up and start doing it. Now, I'm going to go sideways. So in the normal way of doing warrior, and I was a yoga teacher in the 80s. So in the normal way of doing yoga, they would set the feet up, hips up, and they would be, or what we were taught, and it's still doing the same thing today, is that we're reaching and we're stretching and we're keeping our heel on the ground and we're keeping our heels down and we're going for kind of a arc here. And so we're reaching with our arms, we're reaching with our legs, and we've forgotten about our centering. I don't reach. My extremities are designed to move where I want them. My center, that's what I focus on. So in warrior 1 or 2, I first place my hands on my hips and I make sure that I feel that they're going straight ahead. And I relax my belly. And I have a small arch in my back. Okay. Then I set one leg out in front. And if my hips turn, I put them straight ahead. Well, what if I turn my hips and my heel comes up and my knee bends? It's fine with me. I don't care. If I put my heel down and straighten my leg, my pelvis wants to turn towards you. If I force my hips to turn forward and I keep my heel down, the forces are in the wrong place. I want my structure to be centered. So it's almost as if I am sitting, if there was a stool here, I'm sitting on this stool, my heel is up because I want my body to be centered. And I hope you're doing this with me. I put my hands on my hips, they are level. I don't want my knee to shoot way out in front, and there's a lot of reasons for that. We can talk about another time, because I want my pelvis centered. So my back heel comes up, but if I relax, boy, I'm working in here really well. If I bring my arms up and I don't stretch up, I drop my shoulders, I drop my hips, I drop towards the ground, I work real hard. Really hard in here. So, depending on the individual, one person could say, wow, man, I really felt my glute. One person could say, I really felt, well, I don't know what I felt, I just felt like I was working here. It's going to be different. But I am not pulling and stretching my body to fit a yoga posture. I'll do the other leg, if you can do it with me. I'm going to put my right foot forward. I'm going to put my left foot back. I'm going to center my hips. So when I center my hips, I let my heel come up because I want to drop my pelvic floor, my crotch, my pubic bone I want to drop it down. I want it to drop and feel the work in my hips. And then I really feel, for me, maybe some stuff here. I feel there. I relax my chest. I don't do this hyperextension. I relax my chest. I reach up. And as my shoulders drop, I let my whole body drop. And it works my balance too. So I play with yoga postures, but I play with them to fit my body. So how does that have anything to do with anything that I know in everyday life? Well, what I was doing in that yoga posture was dropping into my crotch. I was letting all the weight go down in there. So if I was carrying something on my head and pressing up into something, this is a big pillow, but anyway, if I was pressing up into this pillow is being supported by my crotch. The bones. This pillow is being supported by my neck bones and my thoracic bones and my lumbar bones and my pelvis. That's the world I live in. That's the world I want. You cannot aesthetically see precision of the human body structure with ease. You can't. You can see it sometimes when you see a Steph Curry sink a basket, when you see somebody hit a tennis ball. You see something that you just think, my goodness, everything is so precise, and you can see it. But when what we're doing in our society today is so misfortunate for the well-being of our body, is that we're doing these things like throwing our back and keeping our heel down, stretching into these postures. And my question is, why? What does that mean when I do this? Well, in my world, it means I'm overextending in my back. I am not respecting the stacking of my structure. I may get a stretch, I may not. I may hurt myself, I may not. It doesn't have to be a guessing game. But in the way I see all the bones stack, as if I'm carrying something on my head, I stack my structure so that this is all in line and there's not a lot of effort for the quality of the precision, and my legs and arms assist as I like. That's what extremities are supposed to do. They're supposed to help me do small movements that do not interrupt my ability to be solid, relaxed, strong, balanced, and increase your awareness. And yoga's a big increase your relaxation and awareness. Super. Why not do it now? Why not do it when I stand and bend and walk? That's mindfulness. Why not make me bend and stand and walk be a mindful moment? Increase my awareness. Find out all the little ways in which I can be just comfortable before I ever go to yoga. Or maybe I don't go to yoga. There you go. Questions?
Carla in Sioux City, Iowa says, what does yoke mean?
Yoke, to yoke, means to bring together. So the original, just in Hatha, I'm talking about Hatha yoga. Hatha is the movement part of yoga. Yoga is a big study. There's a lot to yoga, but I'm just going to take the piece that has to do with movement. And to yoke means to bring together, means to connect. I yoke something together. And so what people have used Hatha Yoga as is if when you do these postures, you are going to be better, more well connected to your body. My arms and legs and the whole body will be more connected. That is yoking. You can look it up. To yoke is to bring together. So I'm taking the original idea and concept of yoga, but I'm bringing it in to a different movement posture, which is the ones that you live in. Your life movements. I want you to yoke to that, meaning be comfortable walking and bending and sitting and going upstairs and downstairs and lying down and getting up and reclining and working in the yard and carrying things, and then take all of that. That's yoking, when everything feels good that you do with your body, and take it to pickleball, take it to kung fu, take it to tennis, take it out even further to a more complex movement. So all of these movements in your life should complement each other like it's a symphony of music. It really is to me. It's a language or a music that just fits together. It's not separated into pieces. Oh, I got to go do cardio. Oh, I got to go get my balance in. Oh, I got to go over here and do my lifting. No, that's separating these things. You take this connection to your body and gravity through your whole life, all your movement life.
Bob from Billings in Montana says, it sounds like I need 30 years like you in order to move better with the McCall Method.
No, but doesn't it feel that way when you hear I would think that it probably sounds that way. Okay, no, but thank you for saying that, because sometimes I think when you hear that somebody's been doing something for a long time, like my Kung Fu instructor, I think, well, how am I ever going to get to that level? You know, we do that. You don't need to do that. Sit, bend, and walk are my three favorite things. Walking's most complex. If you go online to look at my videos or do a beginner series on my YouTube, well, it's on my YouTube channel and my website, and you learn how to put your fingers on your spine, have a relaxed belly, learn to bend, learn to bend, learn to bend, learn to bend. From bending to sitting, bending to lifting, bending to get in the car, bending to get out of the car. That right there will change your life. And if you just relax your stomach and stretch up as if you're carrying a pot on your head, that'll change. It's very small movements that make big changes. And remember also that you're designed to move well. You were born that way. Kids move really well. We just got out of the habit of using our body. So I have a beginner series on my website, and I really am going to start promoting it because there is enough there to play with, and you can email me, that you can really begin to feel these changes. So it's the smallest things that make the biggest changes in our life. Just learn to bend and sit different.
Eve in Los Angeles asks or says, I don't get what forces in the wrong place mean.
Okay. When someone hurts a joint, it means the forces of gravity working through that joint are not right. A lot of people may, let's use this posture, something obvious. If I had a mail carrier come see me many years ago, and he was retired, and he sat down, and he's looking at me, and he's slumped over because he's been carrying his bag, and he said, my wife thinks I need to work on my posture. It was so sweet. Well, he wasn't really comfortable like this because the forces of gravity are pulling on his body in an unnatural way. Okay? If you do a sport like tennis or pickle, and you hit a ball, but you don't have the right grip or the right swing, you could hurt a joint. That's forces coming into those joints. That's pretty much why people hurt a lot in our society, is they have no idea how to go sit on a couch and move across the room, and they just repeatedly do the same motions that are not enhancing your ability to be strong, upright, and mobile. Your body just responds to the stresses you put on it. And that's forces through the body. The force of gravity is always working. So that mail carrier, for many years, he's got that bag on his shoulder, and that's the way his body is going to be. And if he stays like that, there's a possibility he's going to have balance issues and all sorts of things, balance, pain, dysfunction, limitations that you don't need to have. You don't assume because you get old you're supposed to get limited in movement. That is not true. It is not true. If you think what I do is so big a deal, it's really just because I go, you can move the camera a little bit, and when I sit on the couch at night, I know how to bend to stick my butt out, and I know how to put a pillow in my back to keep my spine long, and I can throw my legs up. And if I do that, my body responds. My body says, cool, okay, whatever. And then I get up, and I hinge from the hip, and I walk around. And I do that in my life, and I've been doing that in life. So it's just a habit change. If you didn't brush your teeth, and then all of a sudden you start brushing your teeth, you might feel better in your mouth. It's kind of the same thing.
Paula in Pasadena says, why can't I drop my pelvis and my legs and stretch up?
Oh, why can't you do it all? Okay. Because there's people that can, very few. Because it will, if I drop my pelvis, which I'll do it again, like I said, when I mean drop, I mean I just relax. Drop, I let it go. I'm not holding it in. Okay, that's what I mean by drop. Drop means let go. I want to get that clear. If I put my heel down, I change the position of my pelvis, my centering. If I stretch my arm up, I change the position of my pelvis and my shoulder. And if my shoulder is stretching up, it's not going to be necessarily what my spine needs. This looks good in a picture, but this is more natural. This is fine if I'm swimming at the very end of my stroke, but in reality, this is what I want. I want my shoulders to fall. I want to know what it is to bring my arms up and my shoulders to be relaxed down. My back doesn't like this all day. My back wants my shoulders to be down because that's how my shoulder works. I respect the way that the shoulder blade and the shoulder and the ribs all relate to each other. Not do I respect the way the yoga posture tells me to move. I want to move the way I'm designed to move. So, in this posture, when I say drop, I want to be clear that my hips, I'm going to go straight forward. My hips are level on this plane, okay? One's not higher, one's not lower. I put my hands on my hips and I just level. My hips are level, one's not back. I want them both right here, even on this plane. It's pretty much, you can feel it. Now, if I keep my foot back and down back there, and I try to pull my hip around, my leg is going to win. That's not the way I want it. I want my center of my body to be running the show. This is my steering wheel. I start here, I set this upright, then I let my extremities follow. In golf, you set up. Then you know you have a better chance to have a good swing. You set up, then you have the extremities follow. This centering is number one, and you can still stretch. So say you're here, I'm gonna do it this way. You're here, you got your hips right. You can still stretch that leg. I'm stretching that leg down. It may not go to the floor, but that doesn't mean I'm not getting, I'm working it. Here I drop my shoulders, I drop my chest. If I do this, why? Why? You're already stuck up here anyway. I want you to learn to drop your shoulders. Most people can't drop their shoulders, so they have shoulder problems. So I'm using the yoga posture to enhance my posture. I am not moving my posture into a yoga posture because someone said I needed to do this. Not my world.
Jerry in Flagstaff says, it sounds like the McCall method doesn't want me to stretch.
Oh, you do stretch, but you stretch with a purpose. Meaning, if I bend over with my arch of my back, many people will feel a stretch right here. And this is how to bend. And when I get good at this, I can sit and work in my yard for a long time, and I get a stretch. But it's a very specific stretch. It has a meaning to it. Meaning that I'm stretching to be able to do a functional, purposeful movement. To just, sometimes it's fun to just stretch, play stretch. I do that. When you know you're just playing around to stretch, it feels good, that's fine. But if I manipulate my posture to be in a yoga posture, why? What is it doing for me? I should modify the yoga posture to stretch me in a way that helps me retain or remain in a good structural alignment. If my shoulders are stuck here a lot in life, then it makes sense to drop my shoulders, bring my arms up, and take on that challenge of keeping my shoulders down, because that's what my body needs. It doesn't need this. I need to know why I would do that. What is that doing? Know why you're doing what you're doing, and it changes your whole world. And to know why you're doing what you're doing, you just have to start moving from your center again. You just start to move in balance, and that's what my beginner series teaches you. You just try it out and say, oh, I get it now. I'm more relaxed. I can walk across the room. I can garden for a while. I just feel better because I'm stretching the things that need to be stretching. I'm strengthening the things that need to be strengthening, and I'm bringing my body back to a whole. So, there you go. That's the next. I won't be here next week. Boom. But I'll be here in 2. And like, share, comment, email me. But look into some of my videos and play with something as simple as bending. And then when you start to feel yourself bending with strength and mobility, then you're going to start to look at a yoga pose and say, I'm going to change that yoga pose. I'm going to make that yoga pose fit me, not me fit it.
What's your YouTube channel?
Oh, McCall Method YouTube. And my website is mccallmethod.com. Adios.